From banished criminals, grave sites in the middle of parking lots, a cave grave in the woods, to a woman buried alongside a haunted road, and even a family buried in a neighborhood traffic circle, we explore 5 of the loneliest graves in America. Hey friends, it's BeccaG. Welcome to my new series, Lonesome Graves, lonely resting places hidden in plain sight. All over the country and even the world, you can find gravestones and burials in unique and seemingly random places. There's usually a story behind how these came to be, sometimes tragic, sometimes involving crime and mystery, or sometimes just plain weird. This series explores and explains these interesting and sometimes creepy places. This particular episode's list is mostly comprised of New Jersey graves because Jersey is where I'm based. However, I plan to expand location as the series grows. Let's get started. Number 5 is the final resting place of the first permanent resident of Atlantic City, New Jersey. This one is short and sweet, and maybe not necessarily lonely because this family is surrounded by life daily in this neighborhood. Yes, these few graves are in a traffic circle. There are 4 people that we know of buried here. Though Native Americans frequented the area, the first settler of what is now Atlantic City was Lieutenant Jeremiah Leeds, who lived from 1754 to 1838 and came from Leeds Point, where the Jersey Devil was allegedly born. He built a cabin in 1783 on the spot now occupied by the Atlantic City bus terminal, but everything at the time was wilderness. Private Frederick Steelman, a relative of Jeremiah's wife, is also buried here. Both he and Leeds fought in the Revolutionary War. Not much is known about Rachel and Peter, the other 2 here, though it's believed they're relatives of Steelman. Leeds was initially buried someplace else, but had to be moved here to make room for a housing development. Imagine living here, though. Leeds' family continued to influence the area for generations to come. Number 4 is the resting place of a family of criminals, the Doane Gang. In 1783, the Pennsylvania state government declared 6 Doane family members outlaws for robberies, burglaries, and felonies. During the Revolutionary War, the Doanes of Plumstead Township spied for and sold stolen horses to the British Army. They robbed the county treasury in 1781. Leader Moses was killed in a shootout, Abraham and Levi were hanged, Joseph Jr. and Aaron fled to Canada, and Milan disappeared. 3 are buried nearby. Alright, so we're at this cemetery. It's near New Hope. The cemetery entrance is all the way over there. But this family, I always get you looking like in a random direction in my videos. This family did not get the pleasure of being buried with the rest of the cemetery. It's hidden all the way here by the back wall, the Doane family, because they were part of a gang. So they got less respect and they're rejected from the rest of the cemetery. I'm gonna go over there. Wow. Surprised they even got tombstones at all. Imagine how many people aren't buried without, like, tombstones. All the way in this back corner. Damn. Okay, yes, I did put 2 different locations for number 3, but that's because they are so similar. Believe it or not, there are many instances of people buried in the middle of what are now regular parking lots. First, let's check out the grave of the Ellis White family in this AMC parking lot beside a busy highway in New Jersey. According to the oldest burial, the plot has been in this location for over 200 years. Obviously, the area wasn't always a parking lot. To quote Atlas Obscura, from the 17th century until the mid-20th century, New Jersey was a rural area with family farms that could trace their roots back to the first settlements. But from the 1960s, New Jersey rapidly grew and the new replaced the old. Farms were mowed down for housing, businesses, and city buildings. But amid this rapid development, many small family cemeteries were spared. There are 7 people buried here, one being Margaret Ellis, the wife of famed Revolutionary War General Anthony Walton White, and the oldest burial here being Mildred Moody Evans, who died in 1816. The headstone is double-sided, with 3 names on one side and 4 on the other. There was a second stone at one point, but it seems to be missing. This plot is often referred to as the Mary Ellis grave because of the legend surrounding one of its residents. According to the story, Mary Ellis came to New Brunswick in the 1790s and fell in love with a sea captain. The captain sailed down the Raritan River and out to sea, vowing the pair would be married upon his return. He even left his beloved horse with her. Every day, Mary would ride his horse down to the river, awaiting his return. She eventually purchased farmland overlooking the river, and died there 14 years later. She was buried on the property with her other family members, and, according to legend, the captain's horse as well. For years, the plot remained undisturbed within an iron fence in a wooded area overlooking the scenic Raritan River. However, in more recent years, ownership of the land changed several times. Mary's land was paved over. The construction of the theater in 1994 raised the plot even more. I'm unsure of the gravestone's relation to the actual crypt. Meanwhile, in Georgia, we have a similar situation in a Walmart parking lot. This is the Crowley family mausoleum. See, now this is disrespectful. The garbage, the graffiti. For over a century, the Crowley family owned this plot of land which still holds the bodies of 13 people in their original spots, now 12 or more feet off the ground. In the 1820s, James M. Crowley bought up 500 acres of land to create his family's estate. He passed away only a few years later and was buried atop a hill on the property, starting a family cemetery that would go on to hold generations of Crowleys and their relatives. Fast forward to the 1960s when a huge portion of land was sold to build a shopping mall. Builders agreed to leave the graves untouched, but construction flattened the ground, shaving down around 12 feet of land, leaving the bodies at the top of the hill high and dry, as Atlas Obscura puts it. Because of this, the developers constructed the mausoleum around the burial site, leaving the bodies on the roof. It's a bit difficult to see on camera, but this plot was much higher and steeper than the previous, so I may or may not have set up and climbed a sketchy ladder I found to get these shots. And here's a clip from my best friend Sam.
Hello, I'm on top of a ladder in Georgia, across from a Walmart over there, where there are gravestones on top of a mausoleum here. Hello, Becca G.
Hi! Next up, we have the mysterious cave grave in Newton, New Jersey. This grave dates back to 1909. We start off in a cemetery, but it's not our final destination. This grave is about 50 yards into the woods beyond the cemetery, and it actually seals off the entrance to a cave.
We're going into the dense forest.
We're going into the dense forest for...
This is the tiny cave. Oh, don't forget, no trespassing.
That should make us go even more. Oh, shit, we're being ballsy.
This one actually creeped me out, and I can't pinpoint why. Maybe it's the creepy stories I've heard, or the fact that it reminds me of the tragic Nutty Putty Cave incident. In addition, the rain and the no trespassing sign didn't help, but they didn't stop me from visiting either. Before I get into the backstory of this grave, I'm warning you it involves children. A young girl named Margaret Lewis and 2 of her brothers, James and Howard, are buried in this now sealed up cave. Cemetery records show that 3 children are interred here, but there is no clear account as to why or how. The most common story that circulates is one where Margaret ventures into the cave, getting lost, only to have her brothers follow her and disappear into the darkness as well, never to be seen again. According to legend, the bodies were never found, leaving the cave to be their final resting place, and the former cave entrance to be their grave marker. Sealing the cave also prevented future incidents. It seems these poor children aren't at rest. Paranormal activity, including the sighting of a young girl's apparition, has been reported near the cave grave, and we had some strange occurrences ourselves.
This was nuts. This was crazy. What? It went off before. I was over there and it went off.
Ew.
Yeah.
Something ghosty is happening. Did the light like die for that camera?
Yeah, while he was up by the grave. For no reason. I just charged that thing. Now, Charlotte suspected that perhaps her phone could have triggered the EMF detector, but that doesn't explain why my fully charged lights turned off on their own at the same time, so I don't know. Something I didn't catch while I was there, thanks to all the branches on the ground, was this small grave marker labeled Buddy, which people have speculated is the name of the children's dog. No one knows if the dog also disappeared within the cave, or even if it's the one who ran home to alert the family of the children's disappearance. Yet another mystery. Something else I noticed only while editing were 2 more grave markers right across from the cave grave. Upon my research, I came across this picture, taken and shared by Hare Photography on Flickr. The graves look different from the ones I saw, but this photo was shared back in 2015, and they looked beaten up then, so perhaps these stones were replaced with newer ones, and that's what I saw. Regardless, why are they all the way out here in the woods and not in the cemetery? Do they have any relation to the children? And are there more bodies in the woods? If you know, please comment below. Number 1 is the Shaler grave, which actually contributes to a much larger urban legend of the allegedly haunted Indian Cabin Road, which I don't recommend you drive on unless you don't like your car or you plan to enter on the other end from the main road. I go more into detail about this road and its scary stories in my upcoming Haunted Roads video. Please subscribe if you're interested in seeing that one, and if it's already been posted before you're seeing this, the link can be found in the description below. Now, the Shaler grave is legitimately on its own in the middle of the Pine Barrens. There are no other people or graves in the area, that I know of, maybe a few ghosts. This story is a bit sad though. This is the burial site of Mrs. Sybil Shaler and her 3 infant children. What we do know about her is that she married Captain Timothy Shaler in 1769. She also had other, much accomplished children in her lifetime. Of course, with a situation as unique as this one, there are local legends. The most popular is that Mrs. Shaler and her 3 children were killed by local natives while her husband was out to sea, but no one actually knows for sure the cause of her death. The grave says, "Sacred, to the memory of Mrs. Sybil Shaler, consort of the late Timothy Shaler, who departed this life on the 2nd day of April 1785, in the 34th year of her age, and whose mortal remains repose here together with those of 3 of her infant children." I'm unsure why the Shaler plot is all on its lonesome here, but if it's anything like the Mary Ellis grave, my guess is the property was their farm. I also read somewhere that the nearby structure was previously a chicken pen. This is all my speculation. If anyone knows more, please comment below. And again, stay tuned for the video about this haunted road. Which grave did you find the most fascinating? Please let me know in the comments. Also, I'm not sure if you all know that I play bloopers and bonus clips at the end of almost all my videos, so stick around until the end for those if you want. And stay tuned for more episodes of Lonesome Graves. I already have some good ones lined up. To be notified about all future episodes, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell below. And if you like this series, you may also enjoy my series, Hidden Cemeteries, which I've linked in the description and at the end of this video. That was cool. That was like a scavenger hunt. The hidden tombstones. But there are interesting gravestones here, like super old ones. And I know that's not very specific. But 2 people named, well, 2 that I saw of named Mary Shaw. And it reminded me of the Dead Silence movie. I know that's not a real bit of information, but I found it interesting. Also the fact that there's a house like right there, right near the grave, like that's really cool and creepy at the same time. That's it. He's done with me. He's leaving.
Right? You said the body could be somewhere else.
Yeah.
I would like to have a phone like this. I just don't.
I can't. The music is not fitting. I can't breathe.
Seems like
How do you like the mom van, everybody?
I love it. I
Feels
feel
like
like
a
I'm in the
spaceship.
Scooby van.
Yeah.
Scooby van.
Scooby van.
I think so.